Most artists rush the underpainting, especially beginners, because they just want to get to the fun part, which is mixing colors and applying colors on the canvas. But here's the thing, if you get this stage wrong, the entire painting is going to fight you. My name is Vida Evenson, and I paint grease. So in just a second, we're going to get into the studio and do an underpainting of a Collie portrait that I am working on right now. And I'm going to show you exactly how I build the underpainting so that you can see why this foundation is the most important part of your painting success than anything else. In this time lapse for this channel here on YouTube, I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of the underpainting. Why bother spending time on the underpainting? And I think for me, I've come to understand that without a solid, true underpainting, the rest of the painting is guesswork and you're leaving it to chance. It's like gambling. Just see what happens. Will you win or will you lose? Most of the time, in fact, the painting is lost. And not lost, it might work out, but most of the time, without measuring and getting things correct on the canvas, especially for a portrait. And as you can see, I'm doing a Collie portrait here. And so, yes, the painting has to look like the reference photo that I have put up there for you. But even if you're doing a landscape where, yeah, you have the ability to move things around and make the composition work better because of moving trees or rocks or the road a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left, doing that without a solid underpainting will also result in a less viable artwork. What it's like is the artist stands in front of the canvas and just paints. Since we're not doing abstract painting or contemporary work where we have to be in touch with our inner emotions and do what intuitively comes to us, when working with representational work such as landscapes and portraits, there is a pattern that we need to follow. And think of it this way: if you are building a home and you don't put in the right foundation, you just guess. And you say, oh, about, I'll do this side of the house about this far. And you're laying in the foundation for that house. And then, doing the width of the house and just guessing. Chances are, more likely than not, the house is not going to be a solid structure. And it will be patched up and fixed up and just not okay. So the same thing happens with a painting. When you go in and you measure out and you get your lights and your dark masses in at the very beginning, and you have that foundation, you have that blueprint for your painting, the rest of the painting, when you go in and begin to lay in colors, is going to work. It's going to work beautifully for you. And it is the one thing that most beginners just don't want to spend the time doing. They don't want to spend the time practicing, just doing thumbnails of dark and light masses. If you're doing a landscape, dark and light masses to really get a feel for the painting. But even in a portrait where you're following a photograph, you also need to get a sense of the darks and the lights and how you are going to create the drama that you want to create in the painting through the darks and the lights. And yes, here I'm going in and I'm getting all the uh, uh, pieces of the puzzle put into place. And then we'll go in and focus on the more abstract areas of the first layers of the painting, mainly the darks and the lights, and to see how they work and how can I adjust some of it to make the painting work better. And this is a tricky part, especially in doing portraits, is getting the likeness and also impressing in upon the canvas through your brushstrokes and through your value choices, the that dynamic symmetry that happens between the lights and the darks. And it's such a beautiful process to begin to know and to begin to understand. And the only way to do that is through practice and through spending lots of time on the underpainting. Create a strong, powerful foundation first by spending time on the underpainting, and you will find that your painting, successful paintings, becomes much easier and much more enjoyable. Getting the underpainting down, taking the time, making sure you've got everything in place is imperative, especially for portraits. In a landscape or a still life or a seascape, you can move things around to work the composition better, but not in a portrait. So, so this is the most important part. Once this is down and set in place, then the painting becomes so much more relaxing and so much more fun. And you can let go and enjoy yourself and work on the things that are important rather than struggling or fighting, trying to get everything in the right place because you didn't take the time in the beginning in the underpainting to get through all the problems and the structural foundation of the painting. If you want to see the full 30-minute video as I'm putting this in, no cuts, no editing, the struggles that I'm having, the way that I come to solutions and conclusions as I'm painting, I'm speaking out loud. And if you're the type of person who learns that way, like I am, please go to my Patreon. Link is in the description below. And you can sign up there and watch the full version. Have a great day, you guys. Be inspired, be creative, be you.